Okay, we are back with Adobe Premiere Pro Basic Editing Part 2. We're going to go over some of the more finer elements of editing your film. But first, we're going to just take a look at the project that we're working on. Here in the timeline, I'm going to press space.
This is my story of returning home to the land of the eternal spring, a la tierra de mis raíces.
Great, so that's what we're working on now. I go to the next step, which is doing slow motion, or really any speed. The way slow motion works is you're going to go to the timeline, find a clip. It wants us to do clip 3, and then you're going to right click, which gives you this menu of options. You're going to go to speed duration. We're going to go 50%, so that's half speed. And then you're also going to click ripple edit, which means that when the edit happens, it's actually going to compensate on the timeline so that it doesn't overlap. So you can see that clip went from 100% to 50% increased in size because it's twice as long, and it pushed the next clip over. So now it looks like this. You can see how it's a lot slower. So that's how you do slow motion. And if you want to redo it, you can just Command Z or Control Z. Now we're going to practice how to change the speed of clips. We'll give you a little mini assignment and see if you can take that clip 3 that you made into 50% and put it back to its original speed. All right, so go ahead and try it now. Okay, so now we are going to show you how to do it, in case you didn't figure it out. And you would go to speed duration, right click on the clip, do 100%, and ripple edit, and there, it's back to speed. Great. Now we're going to look at adding titles. So first we want to is open the Essential Graphics page, which would go up by window, and then we come down here, Essential Graphics, and there you can see the graphics page opening up. The next thing you want to do is search for title. So going to the title, in the search bar, type in title, and it gives you all the different titles. So we're going to pick a basic title. Now you're going to hold the command down, and then you're going to grab the title, and then drop it over here at the front. And then you see when you do command, grab, drop, the title by itself here in the front. It looks like this. Great. So that is how you put a title by itself. Now if you want to edit the title, you're going to click onto the text here, and then you can double click it so it's red and type what you want. So let's just call this movie The End. Now you can see, now you have the title to the way you want it. Okay, moving on. Now if you want to add titles on top of clips, we can do that as well. So we're going to move the playhead to clip 1, and then I'm going to go to browse, and then I'm going to search for lower third. These are often used when you're introducing someone in a documentary. And here we go. Okay, basic lower third, grab it, and we're not using command, we're just using the regular grab and drop, and there we go. If you want to change it, you can highlight it, double click it, computer, filmmaker. So you can see how that works. And then there we go. Have a lower third title on top of a clip. All right, so the next thing we're going to work on is transitions and the effects panel. So first we're going to go down to Windows, and then we go find Effects right here, and then the effects appears here. So here we are, all the effects that you have. Video effects, audio effects, presets. So we're just going to do a basic cross dissolve. It's probably the most popular of transitions. You're going to type in cross dissolve in your search, and there it goes. Cross dissolve, you just pick it up and you drop it where you want it. So we can do a cross dissolve there. We can do a cross dissolve between this clip, and then we can see how it looks in the, I'm going to make this bigger because it's really hard to see. All right, so let's look at the cross dissolve. You can see fades into it now, and then it fades to that. That looks nice, right? So that's how you do transitions. And there's a lot more transitions than that. You just have to play around with it. All right, so now it's giving us a challenge. Transitions can also be applied to titles. So now we're going to do a little challenge and see if you could apply transitions to the titles in your film. So try to use the same thing that we did for the images with the different title sequences. Okay, we're back. So I'll just show you how to do it in case it was a little difficult. It's pretty much the same thing. You just grab it and drop it on top of the titles, and the titles now do a crossfade. You see how that fades in, fades out. It looks nice. Crossfades are really great. Okay, so we've added titles, we've added transitions. Now we're going to work with audio. So audio, the main thing typically is volume. This music's kind of loud, so we're going to bring it down to -6 dB. The way you do it is just bring your arrow onto the sound clip here, and then when you put it on this little line, it changes into these two arrows, and then you can see the numbers going down. We're going for 6 dB. Oh, it's going right there. That's close enough. So if we listen to the music, it's a little bit quieter.
This is my story of returning home.
And that's a good thing. Okay, next, fading audio. Now, if we want to fade audio, we are going to go back to Window Effects. And there goes the effects thing popping up. And then we are going to search for audio transitions. Okay, and then crossfade. And we're going to use an exponential fade at the end of the film. We're having a little bit of trouble here, so let's try it again. Picking up, and then there we go. So you see how that added a transition there? So now the audio is going to fade out.
De mis raíces.
And that's a nice ending. So if you want to do an audio fade, you should use audio transitions, crossfade, exponential fade. Okay, so we've talked about working with audio. Now we're going to talk about color correction. So sometimes you want the look of the film to correct it in post-production. And so you want to go to the Windows and Lumetri color. So as you can see, that window popped up over here. We're going to expand it to make it easier to see. Okay, now the first thing we're going to talk about is adjusting white balance. We're going to select this clip, put the playhead there. It's kind of blue, and we want to bounce not so blue washed out. So we're going to come over to the Lumetri color panel, click onto basic correction, which opens a lot of options here. The white B selector, I'm going to grab this. Let's see, there we go. See how this dropper changing the color, the way the colors balance? If we put it on the whitest element in the screen, it's going to balance it to that, which is going to make it less washed out with blue. So you can see how that adjusts there. White balance is like the color of the balance of the image. So that's one thing you can do. You can also look at the basic settings under basic correction, and you can adjust temperature. There we go. You can adjust the tint. You can adjust exposure, and etc. Contrast, highlights, shadows, whites, blacks, all these things. You can also just reset it if you mess up and you feel like you want to do something else. The creative settings are super fun. You have these different looks. So that's a look, and you can just play around with different looks to give your film a different feeling. Maybe more intense, maybe more dreamlike. So you can play with that. And finally, your color wheels and match. Go down here. You have, let's get rid of creative, go away, color wheels. And you just have different things you can explore with the color wheels by moving it up and down. These are really, as you get more professional, getting the more detailed looks, you can definitely play with that. Okay, so that is basically the basics of color correction. So we've covered some of the things that you'll be using in the film, and I guess I want to show you one more thing because it didn't cover it in this Adobe Premiere element demo, but it's really important. I'm going to hide this over here. Oops. So this tool is really important, the razor tool. You can trim things by what I showed you earlier, but you can also cut up your film using the razor tool. So let's say I want to cut off this end. I can just put the razor tool where I want to cut, and then I go back to the selection tool, select a piece, and then I can just cut that piece out. It's super useful. I use it a lot when I just need to do some kind of edit. So I just wanted to point that as well. There are a lot of other tools here, which we'll go over at a later time, but good luck editing.